I have some harsh truth for you. If you are not motivated, if you are in a bad mood, it's your fault. The good news is that you can fix it, and if you give me 15 minutes, I will show you the exact steps that allowed me to be extremely motivated every day and in a good mood for the past 10 years. For years, I thought that my behavior and my characters were flaws. I thought that me being chaotic was not okay, was not acceptable, and I had to find a structure I fit in. And I tried all the organization systems that I could find out there. I tried different techniques. I tried routines, habits, whatever was there, I was gonna try. I'm the kind of person that opens a cabinet and it's not closing it back. If I take my shoes off, they will stay exactly where I left them. I have a gazillion tabs open. I have 10 projects ongoing at the same time. And even my head thinks in different languages. I'm really chaotic. And for years I thought I have to change my behavior. I have to adjust it. I have to find a way to change it. After trying a lot of things, I realized that's not really true. You can change the environment you're in to adapt it to how you are and how you do things. The biggest change for me, for example, was to shift to minimalism. Minimalism allowed me to have less things, so even if I am messy, I cannot be too messy. And I have not so many things distracting. Basically a hack for which I could physically not be too chaotic. What I learned from this, aside of being a little bit tidier, is that sometimes you don't need to force yourself into constraints. Rather, you have to look outside the box and see if there is another way to change things. So if there is a behavior that is blocking you from being productive, from being motivated, from getting things done, it's not necessarily what you're doing that's wrong and that you have to change and adapt, but you could also change the environment you're in and change the triggers and change the options that you have to actually have that behavior. The important part is that you find what works for you. And sometimes what works for you does not look like what others are doing or are preaching. This one is very harsh. I feel that what I'm going to say next will probably resonate more with women, but it does not mean that it's not affecting also other people. I was very moody with big jumps of mood. I was having very high and extremely low. It was really frustrating sometimes because I was kind of victim of my own reactions and I was not really able to handle myself as I would like to. I had strong reaction. My emotions were very visible on my face. They were very visible from the people I was interacting with. It was impacting a lot the relationships I had and the things I was doing, especially in a work environment and with new people that had no clue how I am. For some reason, I was under the impression that mood and your way of being on that aspect was something that you could absolutely not change. You are like that. I thought that being happy and being sad and being angry and all these emotions were more of a standard thing. I was not even close to think that it was possible to in fact change it and control it. And one day I was walking in a park and I always listen to podcasts while I walk, and this episode was about supplements and how food can impact you. And I was very curious about that because, as said, it was a big thing for me. And since I heard that, I experimented a lot with food and supplements, and I figured out that it is indeed possible to control your mood, your behavior on that sense, your emotional behavior, through the correct food and the correct supplements. Of course, it's not easy. It required me a lot of years of research and trials to fully understand what is in fact impactful and what was absolutely not. The result is that my mood is quite stable, and most of the time I'm happy and motivated and in a positive mood, even when really bad things happen. Of course, I have days where my mood is a bit weird, but I can immediately pinpoint why. The nice thing is that the more you get control, the more you are in the state that you really like to be, you can immediately notice when something goes wrong. The point of this is not me asking you to eat better. The point of this is that even for those things that you think are fixed and given for granted, they are not. You can still change it, and it's still a decision you could take. And if you keep this in mind, you will be able to work and improve the conditions that you are in. Back in my 20s, when I was living in Milano, a lot of things were expected on a social side. You were expected to go to have aperitivos, you were expected to dinner out, you were expected to go clubbing, you were expected to be up with the last TV series. There was a lot of drinking, there was a lot of smoking and other things that I don't particularly enjoy. And for some reason, the work aspect was seen as a bad thing. If you wanted to work, that was not okay. And if you wanted money, same thing, that was not okay. Even if you made some, you had to hide it. I always felt disconnected, but of course there was a part of me, young me, that wanted to connect with others, that wanted to fit in, that wanted to be accepted, but I wasn't into it. And I started noticing the vibes, the energy that these people, that these moments, that these locations were having, and I was not enjoying it. So I started to pay attention to vibe. And I say vibe like this because as a science-based person, it sounds really weird and it sounds a bit based on nothing, but it's not. I do believe a lot in it. My sister makes a lot of fun of me for this. When you start following your vibes, meaning when you start to do what you feel good for you, what you feel resonates with where you are going, with what you want, you begin to give more value to your energy. Energy is a resource that it's not considered for some reason at the same level of time and money, but it's extremely precious. If you don't have energy to do things, it does not matter if you have time or money to do them, you won't do them. Your energy is an extremely valuable resource. And when you feel that there are events and locations with a bad vibe, it will impact your energy. Avoid it. If you want to stay motivated, you have to pay a lot of attention of your energy and the vibes that places, locations, people, events are giving you. What is taking off from you? I protect my energy. I pay a lot of attention on where it goes. To do that, I pay a lot of attention of the vibes that people have, places have, activities have. If a movie is not giving you a good vibe, don't watch it. If something has not the correct vibe and it's not bringing me energy rather than absorbing it, it's out of my life. Now let's talk emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I cry quite easily. I can be very happy, sometimes too excited. I can get very angry. I remember this particular day when I was going through a very rough time. I ended up a relationship of 10 years and I was particularly affected by my emotion. I noticed that during that period, as I guess everyone that goes through a breakup of this level, a lot of things were upsetting me. A lot of things were remembering me of past and we're bringing up memories, that we're bringing up emotions. I read something that was like a lightning in the sky. It really hit me. Events do not come with emotion attached to it. If a vase fell down, it's just that. If it's your grandma vase or is a cheap IKEA vase, the event is still the same. A vase fell and we decide what emotions to attach to it. Let me be clear, I'm not saying here that you don't have to feel emotions. It is okay to be sad if your grandma vase falls and break, and maybe it was a gift or maybe it was a memory from her. That's not the point. The point is that you have to be aware that it's you that are attaching these emotions to these specific events. And knowing this means also that you can decide not to or stop it. We can decide to recognize, hey, I'm feeling this emotion, I'm feeling sadness. And then you can move on. And that is okay. You are allowed to move on, especially if the emotions you are feeling is useless. For example, if you get a ticket, yes, you get angry, but after that you can move on, right? It is likely that it was your fault. So what's the point to spend energy on this? No. You can decide what you spend your energy on, if it's worth it. We don't need to be emotionless. We are human beings and emotions come with that. But we can also control them. We can recognize them and then decide to move on if we want to. And that was a game changer for me. This one, I think it's the most impactful. I noticed that quite often I had drama in my head. If something went wrong, I started listing all the things of that day that were going bad. For example, if I lost my key, then suddenly also I woke up in a bad mood. And then I remembered that coffee was ended and then some water was spilled. And suddenly my day was ruined. And don't even get me started on the imposter syndrome or when the outcome of a situation was not what I wanted or predicted. Big drama. In my head, I was not necessarily sharing it with the world, but still, I had a lot of thoughts about negative things. Not necessarily negative thoughts, but thoughts about negative things. And I read this book. It's called The Secret, and I don't know if you know it, but when I was introduced to it, I was kind of warned that it was a bit you have to interpret it. But regardless of this, it was a life-changing read. The book is about manifestation, and don't get me wrong, I 100% believe into manifestation, but that was not the thing that changed my life. What impacted me the most is that after reading that book, I started to pay attention of what I was thinking, regardless of the power of manifestation or not. I started to really pay attention of the thoughts I had. Were they about positive things or were they about negative things? Were they about drama or were they about solutions and about the outcome that in the end I want? I stopped complaining and I started asking myself, what can I do for this? Am I learning from it? And even when something was clearly not working, let's say a project went wrong or a customer rejected me, I was, instead of being pissed or angry, I was more thinking of, okay, what went wrong that I can do better next time? Or even simply as, this is not working, maybe I should stop doing it. And this was what in the end changed my life the most. Every time we put out thoughts that are negative, we are building our story. We are piece by piece deciding where we will put our focus and our attention. And when you stop wasting all this power and on the other hand, we start investing all this energy on the outcome that we are searching, that we are looking for, you will see almost as if it is magic, you will start to see a lot of results that you were not even considering possible. You have definitely to try it out.